Throwaway account, because the wreckage I'm about to lay bare could still drag me back into court. I also need distance from the friends and coworkers who once thought I was the definition of responsible. My name is burned off every invite list now, and I earned that. First, a sketch of who I used to be. I'm 29, female, grew up in suburban New Jersey with the kind of parents who schedule dentist appointments months ahead and believe failure is a choice. After law school, I landed at a mid-tier Philadelphia bank in the compliance group and climbed until people twice my age asked me how to interpret Treasury guidance. I had a condo facing the river, a French press habit, spin classes on Saturdays, and a spreadsheet mapping life to 5-year increments. Then came Adam. He was 31, a biomedical engineer at a flashy startup called Helix. We met while tutoring 7th graders who hated algebra. Adam had skateboard scabs and the kind of listening face hardened teenagers trust. He memorized exactly when my migraines hit, and that my grandfather's war medals stayed wrapped in tissue because I couldn't look at them without crying. 2 years later, during a charity 5K, he jogged backward beside me, popped a ring from his pocket, and the entire water station crew cheered. It felt like the universe giving pre-approval. We set the first Saturday of December for our wedding, slotted neatly between Thanksgiving chaos and peak holiday travel. Guests would sip bourbon cider cocktails Adam's father pressed himself, while fireplaces glowed behind wrought iron screens. It was the kind of celebration Pinterest was invented for. I need to explain another rule before the spiral. From the first month together, Adam and I swore radical honesty. He feared hidden debts or secret addictions. I declared transparency non-negotiable. It started small, forwarding each other pay stubs, laughing about browser history, but over time it hardened into our moral flagship. We took pride in it, posted think pieces about emotional integrity, and never suspected the rule would become a weapon. Enter the week before Thanksgiving. We were at the condo, seating chart PowerPoint glowing on the TV because Adam refused to seat feuding relatives together. He poured Japanese whiskey, cued our first dance track, and asked, half teasing, what crime I would commit if I could guarantee impunity. I laughed, said insider trading, professional hazard. He shook his head and asked again, this time demanding the worst thing I'd ever done. No laughing, no skipped detail. He promised I could ask the same. I should have dodged. Instead, I heard myself answer. I told him about the night I killed a man. 17. License barely earned. Carnival after party. I borrowed Dad's Buick to race my best friend Leah for milkshakes. Empty roads, teenage arrogance. I blew a blinking yellow light on Route 202 and clipped a cyclist. He bounced, screamed once, and landed wrong. I stopped, but Leah shouted I'd be tried as an adult. She yanked the wheel. We fled. At dawn, we scrubbed blood flecks from chrome while promising silence. The cyclist died. He was a chemistry teacher and father to a toddler. No witnesses, no cameras, no arrest. Just a roadside cross I visited every year with anonymous envelopes for the widow. But I never confessed. Adam's face performed a slow eclipse. He asked if this was real. I said yes. He stood, grabbed his coat, and walked out. No slammed door, no goodbye, only the click of the latch. From that click until Thanksgiving morning, 6 days unraveled in camera flashes of panic. I called, texted, emailed, nothing. Meanwhile, vendors demanded final payments, and my mother peppered me with questions about boutonnieres. I lied that Adam was swamped at work. Every lie felt like stacking stones on an avalanche. Thanksgiving at my parents' colonial house looked normal, until my mother finally snapped that Adam's family was insulting us by ghosting. She demanded an explanation. The secret that had lived as acid in my throat for 12 years spilled with zero ceremony. I described the accident, the cover-up, and Adam's disappearance. My aunt gasped. My cousin's toddler kept tapping a tablet, oblivious. My father herded me into his study and asked whether a colleague should start strategizing. I realized accepting help meant repeating the old cover-up. I said no and asked to sleep. At 4 in the morning, still awake, I drafted 2 letters. One confessing to the district attorney and one apologizing to the widow. I saved them unsent. Black Friday began with a single text from Adam. Meet me at the river trail. Come alone. I drove, gripping the wheel until my wrists ached. Frost whitened the grass. Adam stood on the footbridge in an old college hoodie. He didn't hug me. He said he'd spent the week with a roommate, researching statutes and meeting a priest despite being agnostic. He believed the widow deserved justice, so he'd written a sworn statement naming me the driver and himself a witness, already mailed to the police. I should turn myself in Monday. If not, he'd go public. While he spoke, clarity settled like ice. Adam's love was conditional. He believed this betrayal made him righteous. And I was done letting others dictate my fate. If I was going down, I'd set the terms, and I wouldn't go alone. I drove to my downtown office. The building was closed for the holiday, but compliance officers keep keys. The bank's test servers mirror live transaction data. Few know that. I logged in under a dormant tester ID and pulled every Helix wire transfer for 3 years. A pattern emerged. Each quarter, shortly after Helix announced new funding, Adam authorized 6-figure wires to a Panamanian consultancy that didn't exist in any registry. The recipient accounts were famous for shielding gambling wins. Adam once bragged he covered textbooks playing poker. Apparently, the stakes kept rising. By sunset, I'd built a tidy report. Screenshots, ledger exports, registry searches, and citations of federal fraud statutes. I encrypted it, created a new Proton Mail alias, and sent it to Helix's board, their auditor, and an FBI tip line. Then I erased every trace of the test environment login and dropped my security card in the shred bin. Saturday became Asset Protection Day. The prenup sat unsigned in my lawyer's inbox because Adam and I thought love meant no paperwork. I instructed the lawyer to finalize it and send Adam a signature request, claiming venue insurance required it. I inserted one alteration. If we separated for any reason other than mutual agreement, Adam would receive the Jersey Shore cottage I'd inherited, a termite-eaten wreck with decades of unpaid taxes. While legal staff polished that document, I moved every liquid asset I controlled, stock options, crypto, high-yield savings, through shell LLCs into a trust for the cyclist's widow. The trustee was a retired partner who owed me a favor. The money was locked beyond civil suits and Adam's reach. Sunday night I texted Adam saying he was right. I'd surrender Monday and needed him to drive me because my parents were distraught. He replied with a heart emoji and said he was proud of me. I stared at that sentence until the letters blurred, not from grief, but because he had no idea what storm he'd chosen. Monday I walked into the precinct alone at 9 sharp, confessed, handed over my letter, and requested a public defender to prevent Dad from intervening. Processing took hours. When I emerged on bail, news vans waited. I gave no comment. That evening, Helix's board met. By dawn, Adam's keycard failed. Security walked him out, and federal agents seized his laptop. He tried calling me. I let it ring. He texted that if I'd tipped the feds, we were finished. I ignored that too. Wedding vendors pressed for balances. I paid every one. I mailed bridesmaid dresses to Goodwill and sold my gown online. On what would have been our wedding day, I sat in my parents' living room in sweatpants and an ankle monitor, watching generic holiday movies while snow sparked against the windows. Adam posted bail after 3 weeks, funded by a lien on his parents' retirement home. He came to my building on Christmas Eve, shouting apologies up at my balcony, promising we could shield each other if we united. I stepped outside, monitor visible, and told him about the prenup clause, the termite-ridden cottage, and the trust beyond his reach. Then I wished him happy holidays and shut the door. Court moves slower than heartbreak, but faster than denial. My plea hearing landed in early February. The prosecutor offered 8 years with parole eligibility at 5, citing my self-surrender and the irrevocable trust as mitigation. I accepted. I had already chosen my punishment. The rest was bookkeeping. Adam's case barreled on a separate track. Forensic accountants verified my report and uncovered forged insurance certificates. Helix wanted revenge, and the Department of Justice loves headlines. Negotiations collapsed. The morning of my sentencing, I stood in a gray suit without makeup. The judge called the crime an avoidable tragedy, but acknowledged restitution. When the gavel fell, I received 8 years state. Chains rattled, no words did. Prison intake equals efficient humiliation. Strip, disinfectant shower, orange scrubs, paperwork signed with damp wrists. My cell smelled of bleach and iron. Yet that night I slept deeper than any in a decade. The secret was public, the price tagged. People imagine prisons as constant violence, but women's facilities run on barter and boredom. I keep a schedule. Dawnyard laps, chapel library shift, tutoring GED candidates at night. The warden approved my enrollment in a forensic accounting correspondence degree. Irony simply budgets time well. News trickles in even behind walls. 3 months after sentencing, a guard silently handed me a newspaper clipping. Headline: Former Helix engineer sentenced to 20 years for fraud and money laundering. The photo showed Adam in an orange jumpsuit mirroring mine, eyes hollow. His mother fainted outside the courthouse. No one caught her. I stared until the ink blurred. What I felt wasn't triumph, just equilibrium. Adam was paying for his choices. I was paying for mine. The widow received more than a hollow apology. Next year, I hit the halfway mark to parole. The trust's interest should cover the widow's daughter's college if she chooses. I write letters, none of them answer, and that's fair. When I leave, I'll carry a degree, a felony record, and no illusions about redemption. I'll rent an apartment near the river trail and run past the bridge where Adam staged his righteous ambush. 5 laps equal the distance between the accident site and the moment I finally confessed. I calculate things like that now. Do I regret telling him my secret? Oddly, no. The confession detonated my life, but it forced me to choose integrity on my own terms instead of fearing discovery. Morality isn't a single road. It's a ledger. Debits, credits, interest, penalties. Pay what you owe and extract what is owed. Balance every column before the audit. No one escapes. Adam taught me much. That bourbon cider tastes like home. That some betrayals masquerade as virtue. And that forgiveness is not obligatory when the betrayer still rewrites history to make himself the hero. I will never forgive him, and that is the cleanest truth I have. I built my revenge spreadsheet the way I once built compliance frameworks, checklists, escalation paths, contingency reserves. and executed it flawlessly. The widow's trust proves I'm capable of restitution. Adam's sentence proves I'm also capable of retribution. Those two capacities coexist. Together, they define me better than any resume. So here I am, inmate number I won't type, composing this on the library computer while a correctional officer pretends not to read over my shoulder. When I press submit, the post slides into Reddit's endless scroll where commuters mine drama. Call me monster or vigilante as you like. You're not the auditor who matters. I'm the one checking my own books. For the first time, they reconcile. And that, Adam, Mom, Dad, Leah, wherever you are, and you internet strangers, is my last confession. Everything after this is just interest accruing. The balance stands settled for good.